session number 3 of lesson number 3, fiber to fabric, where we have seen animals that yield wool. We have also seen the how to obtain the fibers, how to obtain the wool, processing fibers into wool. This all the processes we have seen, and today we are going to see the next part of this lesson. Now we are on the page number 28. See the blue box you can see on your screen. Occupational hazard. Wool industry is an important means of livelihood for many people in our country, but sorter's job is risky as sometimes they get infected by a bacterium anthrax, which causes a fatal blood disease called sorter disease. Such risks faced by workers in any industry are called occupational hazards. See, the heading of the blue box is occupational hazard. We know that when we work in any field, there are some kind of risk. But if a person working in a particular industry or particular area, and if he's have the risk of causing any kind of disease, then that disease can be called as the occupational hazards. See, just now we have seen in the previous session about the wool industry, and we have seen various processes actually conducted for obtaining the wool, and while doing this there are so many risks are found that we are going to talk now. Wool industry is an important means of livelihood for many people in our country. So many people are actually depend on this wool industry, and as we have discussed the process of sorting, for that purpose the sorter's job is also there, and that this sorter's job is sometimes risky, as the sorter may get infected by bacterium anthrax. Those who are doing the sorter's job, they can be suffer from the one very, I can say, infection causing bacterium, that is anthrax, and due to this it can causes a fatal blood disease, also called as sorter disease. Means if anthrax is get infected, or if you are infected by the anthrax, then you can get the disease. You can get the disease, and the disease is the blood disease, fatal blood disease, also known as sorter disease. And such risks are faced by the workers in any industry, so they are called as the occupational hazard. Okay. See here, the Bhujo and Bhujo want to ask you question. He's confused. So if you are able, if you can solve his problem, you can solve. See, Bhujo is wondering why it hurts when someone pulls his hair, but not when he goes for a haircut. It's very interesting one. When someone pull the hair of Bhujo or of yours also, you get hurt when someone pull your hairs. But when you go for the haircut, there is no problem. There is no any kind of the hurt. So why this so? Think and give answer. If you are able to give answer, if you think, then you can write it in also in the notebook. Okay. Bhuj is wondering why a cotton garment cannot keep us warm in the winter as a woolen sweater does. See here, Bhujo want to compare actually the cotton garment and woolen garment or woolen sweaters. Actually, here he want to say that why the cotton garments are not keeping us warm compared to the woolen sweaters. Okay, you also can give the answer of this question. Think about this. Now we'll see the activity number 3.4. Debate among your classmates whether is it fair on the part of humans to rear the sheep and then chop off their hair for getting wool. Actually, the debate among your classmates is not possible nowadays, so you can debate with your parents also. Okay, debate with your parents whether is it fair on the part of humans to rear the sheep and then chop off their hair for getting wool. What do you think? We are rearing the sheep for our benefit. We are rearing them and we are chopping their hair. We are removing their hair. So is it okay? Is it good? Or is it appropriate? Ask this question to your parent and make a debate. Means you can discuss the issue. Okay? And write, you can write also about this in your notebook as a homework. Now we are going to start the half part of the lesson. Half part we have completed. Half part of the lesson which is very important, that is 3.2 silk. 3.2 silk. Silk fibers are also animal fibers. Silk fibers are also animal fibers. Silkworms spin the silk fibers. See, as we have discussed, silk fiber is also animal fiber, and this silkworm spin the silk fiber. Silkworm spin the silk fiber. The rearing of silkworm for obtaining silk is called sericulture. So here we have got the definition about the sericulture. The rearing of silkworm for obtaining silk is called sericulture. Okay. I think now you know about the silk sarees and silk garments. Find out from your mother, aunt, grandmother the kind of silk sarees they have. List the kinds of silk. Here too you have got you can have the homework. Okay. Observe the silk saree present at your home. If it is not present, you can ask to the neighbor also to see only. Okay, about the silk, how the silk sarees feel actually, or what is the quality of the silk sarees. And you have to make a list of the kinds of silk. Actually, there are many kinds of silk, so you can see the quality of the silk, and you can ask your parents also to know about the kinds of silk. Okay, before we discuss the process of obtaining the silk, it is necessary to know the interesting life history of silk moth. As we know that we are going to see the process of obtaining silk, but before that we should know about the interesting life history of the silk moth. Okay, so now we'll start the life history of silk moth. The female silk moth lay eggs from which hatch larvae, which are called caterpillars or silkworms. We know that the laying of the eggs is mostly done by the female. So same here, the female silk moth lays the eggs, and when these eggs are hatch out, the larva comes out, and these larvae are known as caterpillars, or it is also known as silkworms. When these silkworms grow in size, and when the caterpillar is ready to enter the next stage of its life history called pupa, it first waves a net to hold itself. Then it swings its head from side to side in the form of the figure of 8. During this movement of the head, the caterpillar secretes fiber made of protein, which hardens on exposure to air and becomes silk fiber. See, first of all, it's very important to know the beginning of the process of life history of silk moth. So it starts with the eggs. When the female silk moth lays the eggs, and when it hatch out, these eggs when it hatch out, then it forms the caterpillar or silkworm, and when they grow, they are ready to enter the next stage called pupa. Before that, it waves a net to hold itself. They make a net around them, net around itself. Then it swings its head from side to side. It gives the swing to head from side to side in the form of figure 8. And during this moment, the head of the caterpillar secretes the fiber made of protein. Protein fiber is secreted during the movement of this silk moth in the figure of 8, and this protein hardens on the exposure to air and becomes silk fiber. That means when this protein comes in the contact with the air, it becomes the silk fiber. Okay. Soon the caterpillar completely covers itself by silk fiber and turns into pupa. And when this caterpillar completely cover themselves by silk fiber and turns into pupa, means when they cover themselves by the silk fiber, they are called as the pupa. Okay. When the caterpillar completely covers itself by the silk fiber, it turns into pupa, and this covering is known as cocoon. Actually, on the page number 28, you may have seen the total life history of silk moth. They have given the headings also A, B, C, D, E, and F, where you can see how the male and females are responsible for generating the eggs on mulberry leaves, and from the egg silkworm, from the cocoon and development of the cocoon. Then all we can see actually in the figure 3.9. The further development inside the cocoon, which you can see in the figure 3.9. Silk fibers are used for weaving silk cloth. Silk fibers are used for weaving the silk cloth. Can you imagine that soft silk yarn is as strong as comparable thread of steel? If you compare the silk fiber, soft silk yarn, then this soft silk yarn is strong as comparable to thread of steel. Means here you can get the idea about its strongness, or we can say its strength. The silk yarn thread is obtained from the cocoon of silk moth. There is a variety of silk moths which look very different from one another, and the silk yarn they yield is different in texture, such as coarse, smooth, shiny, etc. See, the silk yarn is obtained from the cocoon of the silk moth, and there is a variety of silk moth which look very different from one another, and the silk yarn they yield is different in texture, that is coarse, smooth, shiny, etc. You should know about this, as there are many types of this silk moth. They create different varieties of silk, such as coarse, smooth, and shiny. Thus, tussar silk, muga silk, kosa silk, etc. are obtained from cocoons spun by different types of moths. Some example that I have given here, that is tussar silk, muga silk, kosa silk. These all obtained from the cocoons spun by the different types of moth. The most common silk moth is mulberry silk moth. You may have heard it. Actually, in our Kolhapur district, I have seen this mulberry silk moth in Yergud. So, near our area, this mostly silk plants are available where the silks are reared. Okay, the silk fibers from the cocoon of this moth is soft. Now we are talking about mulberry silk moth. The silk fiber obtained from the cocoon of the silk moth is soft, lustrous, and elastic, and can be dyed in beautiful colors. See, what are the advantages of the mulberry silk moth? Whatever the silk moth obtained, or whatever the silk moth is available, now we are talking about mulberry silk moth. So the mulberry silk moth gives us the silk which is soft, lustrous, elastic, and can be dyed into beautiful colors. So these are all the characteristics of mulberry silk moth. Okay, sericulture or culture of silkworm is very old occupation in India. Now we are talking about actually the silkworms and sericulture. So sericulture or rearing of silkworm is a very common and very old occupation in India. India produces plenty of silk on commercial scale. India produces plenty of silk on a commercial scale. So you can have an idea about the production of this silk in India. Okay, today we have seen many more things related with the life history of silk moth, and also about the occupational hazard. Try to frame the questions, try to write the answers of the questions. Okay, remaining part of the lesson we will see at the next session. Thank you.